What's up, you beautiful collectors and action figure fans? It's the one and only Optibotimus coming at you with another video review. And on today's episode, we're going to be taking a look at the new Transformers The Last Knight Voyager class Scorn. For the package, you got that really cool Transformers text along the side. You can see that he's part of the Premier Edition. You got the Transformers Last Knight logo down there, as well as an absolutely gorgeous image of Scorn in his dinosaur mode. Of course, the front of the box has an open window that fully showcases the figure. The sides here just have, that extended image, and then it says he's a Voyager class. On the opposite side here, you can see that he's a demolition specialist, which I didn't know that he actually was that. But hey, whatever. On the back of the box, you got images of both his robot as well as his dinosaur mode, kind of. It's kind of a mess for a dinosaur, but it also shows that he transforms in 23 steps. And then you got an image of the other Voyager class figure in this wave, that being Decepticon Nitro. But for the packaging on this guy, that's about it. Nothing that we haven't really seen before. So without further ado, let's get him out here and see how cool he actually is. Alright guys, so here we have Scorn opened up out of its packaging and obviously in his dinosaur mode. I use that term loosely because while he's meant to kind of look like a Spinosaurus, he's obviously a little bit different. He doesn't have a completely accurate look to him, but he is still ridiculously awesome. It's a darn shame that he wasn't in the movie. Oh, he might be. There's rumor and kind of speculation that he was in the movie. I'm not going to get into that here, but we may have seen him. But regardless, this is still a really cool toy, so I don't care if he was in the movie. This thing is awesome. One thing that instantly just grabbed my attention was how large this is. This is a Voyager-sized figure, and as you can see, he's fairly big. This is the Voyager version of Grimlock, and there's a huge difference. No wonder why the Spinosaurus was able to beat up the T-Rex in Jurassic Park. Look at the size difference here. Now, granted, I don't have the big tail thing kind of hanging out here, but I don't really care that much. But there's a huge difference in terms of the size, both in terms of height and just the overall bulk of this guy. And then here you see him next to the Deluxe Class Scorn, which is like a Velociraptor. So again, obviously there's going to be a size difference between a Voyager and a Deluxe, but I'm just really blown away by how big this guy is. Now, unfortunately, I do apologize. I no longer have the Deluxe Scorn. Well, I do. I just don't know where it is. It went into storage. But looking at those other Dinobot figures, which come from Age of Extinction, you can get a kind of pretty good idea of how much bigger this guy is than that original Deluxe. And there's a lot on this Voyager that really does just make that original Deluxe completely obsolete. This just is terrific. You can see amazing paint detail. You got a nice red kind of plastic with the silver kind of faded in there very nicely. You got that with his little claws, the feet. You got some nice gray here. What does make him kind of less of a Spinosaurus, the fact that he's got 3 fins right here when the actual dinosaur just only has 1. But I love the fact that he's got 3. It's a really cool, unique look. These are a softer rubber, but real nice paint detail on those as well. You can see a nice fade going from red to this darker silverish gray color. You got that kind of going on here with the tail as well. Both of these are softer, rubbery materials. So there's a little bit of flex in them, but it really isn't done for articulation. You can see, though, very well articulated tail. You got this back hinge right here. You have another hinge here, and then another one right there. So you can whip and nay-nay this guy all day long. I'm really impressed with that. The hips here, these are going to be his legs in dinosaur mode, so these can move in and out. You can move that down, and you can pivot that all over the place. We'll go over the articulation in robot mode as well. It's going to be pretty much the same. You got a little silver right here, bends here at the knee. You got a little bit of ankle tilt, well, not tilt, but forward and back. But in doing so, you pull that away from the actual body, and it kind of creates a ugly-ish sort of look. I do love how, in terms of the, I guess, blending of things, you got his robot foot right there, which it does stick out, but I like how it kind of blends in with some of the other little notches and outcroppings here on the rest of his leg. His little dino arms up here, they're articulated at the front here with just the ball joint, which works okay. He does have a hinge allowing him to look left and right. It does also move up and down, and then it can also rotate. You can see that his mouth opens really very wide. Nice detail on the mouth as well. A lot of teeth and sculpt the detail on the inside of his jaw. I do kind of wish that he had some paint up here in the eye area. As it is, it just kind of has like this silver throughout some of the horns, and then the red here just is like the rest of the body. So maybe some silver on the inside there would have been nice. One of the nitpicks that I kind of have is this: it has a little tab and a slot thing that locks it in on the bottom section, but it just kind of sits there. It's not a very strong friction, so it detaches easily. Luckily, the hinge is fairly strong here at the actual shoulder, so it leaves it up there, but I wish it did tab a little bit more securely there. All in all, though, a really cool looking dinosaur mode. I really do dig it. You can get a lot of really cool poses. The Spinosaur is a vicious dinosaur, or was a vicious dinosaur, and I think works perfect as like a Michael Bay Dinobot. I mean, it's just really spectacular. Now, for the transformation, first what we're going to do, start here with the legs. You just take these, you push this around, and then this piece right here, you want to fold this in like that. So push that down and then rotate that around like that. Bring that all the way down, and then you can actually take this and fold that up. And again, you got that little gray piece that fits very nicely with the red piece there. So I like how that actually kind of fits. If that was red, it would look a little bit better, especially here in the lower leg section, but it's not that bad. Take this piece, fold that down like so, come around to the other side, do that as well. Rotate this around, fold that down. And I'm going to bring that up right there. Fold that. You can bring that down. I do like how this kind of resembles his dinosaur mouth in the CGI in his robot mode. The side hip skirts were made up of his mouth. And now, obviously, that doesn't happen. These are fake pieces that don't become his mouth, but I still think that looks pretty cool. Bringing this down, we're just going to kind of straighten that out like that. Come around here to the back. We're going to detach this and then detach this. These pieces, you can see, kind of hinge all over the place, and I'm just gonna get that out of the way for right now. Pull that apart, and then come around here. This can get a little bit tricky to do. You can bring this out if you want. Detach this, lift this up, just like that, and just kind of pull that away from the body. We're gonna play with all this stuff here in a little bit, then pull this away from the back section. You got some holes and tabs. Do that on this side as well. Then you can take this piece here, you can rotate this around and kind of pivot that off to the side like so. We're gonna fiddle with that here in a bit. Do that on this side as well. You want to keep these legs all the way out. That way you can actually manipulate some of this other stuff. Then take this, rotate this piece. No, sorry, bring this, detach this, and bring this all the way down. You can rotate that like so, and then you can swivel these to the outside like that. Rotate these legs down, but you want to keep them separate right now. So keep them, let's see, get that. Keep these off to the side because you need to have enough clearance to bring this down, and then take the head, tuck this down just like so right there, and then take this piece, rotate that around. Then you can bring this up, and it's going to sit right there. And then bring these back pieces, and you have a little tab right there that's going to slot in here. So bring that in. If you have that collapsed all the way, then bring that in, and that will lock the back piece. So then do that on this side as well. Lock that in there. You can fold these back. You can really do whatever you want with these. It's personal preference. But then you can actually then bring the little hip section. So again, rotate this out of the way so you can see. You can then bring these down. They have a little double hinge up here that you then accordion down, squeeze together right there. Kind of straighten out those legs. Rotate this around. You can then come around here. This does get a little bit tricky. There's a little rotation piece here that you need to rotate when you are going to bring his arm in, and it is a little bit tricky to do because as I rotate it, you move that piece around, and you can see, hopefully you can see that you got a little notch section here that as you rotate this, it moves it around. So you want to rotate that around so that it actually lines up here and will tab into place. But it is tricky to see. So again, bring that in. You're just kind of looking, and yeah, it is not an easy tab. But there you go, got that in there. But you have to lift this swivels around, and then you can actually rotate that piece. So make sure if you had it for the beast mode, it's going to be shifted down like that. Hinge it up like that, and then that allows you, get that out of the way, this piece then will spin, and you can rotate that around to where it needs to be, and then bring that in and lock that into place. So that's definitely a tricky part. Then take these, you can just rotate these, and they just sit up there. You can pivot the little hands and the feet around. Again, now you're just kind of cleaning things up. Make sure that this little piece stays down. But when you're done, there you have Scorn in his really awesome looking robot mode. And much like that dinosaur mode, robot mode here looks absolutely terrific. It is such a marked improvement over that deluxe one. Now, that deluxe one wasn't a bad figure. It is a huge improvement, and really, I've said it many, many times, goes to show just what Hasbro is able to do when they have a little bit more time to design and engineer a figure based on the characters in the film. Many of you know that it can take upwards of a year to design a toy. And when you are dealing with a movie, you don't get all the designs right away. They change constantly, so a lot of times you're having to tweak things and figures come out looking different than how they look in the movie. But this guy really is amazing. It definitely makes me wish that we got some new Dinobots just in general, because here he is. Here's the Voyager class Grimlock from Age of Extinction, and also repainted here to give us a slightly different look for the last night. I mean, come on. That is just pathetic. This is such a cool toy. All the way around it. You come around in the back. Now, like I said, you can move these off to the side if you really want to, but I kind of like, oh, that's kind of a cool look, how it like fades like that. I dig that. You can leave it off to the side if you want to have a flatter back. You can position these along the side. The only thing that's really not entirely accurate is that these should be a little bit higher and kind of coming up here. The deluxe one did a good job of that. I mean, you can still kind of see them there. I do wish that this could maybe like angle a little bit, but as it is, it's not bad. A lot of those same colors are still here. You got the red, the silver, you got some black. Real nice sculpting and paint work here for the actual face coming in there. You got some nice paint variation in fade. Like right here at the top, you could see some like silver kind of dry brush put in there. And then again, you got that nice silver paint here along the side. It has a little bit darker of a presence, and it comes down. You can see that on his little whip arm. Good molded detail throughout the entire thing. Sculpting work is really quite nice throughout the entire thing. Again, paint applications that I would like to see is maybe like these little pieces right here actually painted red to kind of match with the rest of his leg. That would look a little bit better. But really, looking at it, that's really about it. I will say that his legs are a little bit loose. He's a fairly heavy figure, and I wish that the little outward joints here were a little bit tighter. It works perfectly fine, but you do want to be careful when you're kind of positioning him. And then I guess I could do a couple other size comparisons. Here he is with the Voyager class Optimus Prime and Megatron, and you can see that size-wise he works pretty good. He's definitely a lot bulkier than even Megatron, for example. I mean, very heavy-duty kind of look in this guy. Optimus is a little bit more streamlined and thin. And then for Deluxe, here he is next to Barricade. So again, you can see a good size here. I like Scorn being bigger. I like all the Dinobots being bigger. So again, like I said, I really wish they would have given us a completely new Grimlock and a new Slug to go along with. I mean, Scorn we don't really need, because, like I said, I don't necessarily think he was in the movie. People have speculated that he's in the beginning with King Arthur. There was a red Transformer in the cave speaking to Merlin, and people are thinking maybe it was this guy. It's possible, who knows, but we definitely didn't see him later on with the rest of the Dinobots. For his articulation, the head is on a bit of a ball joint, but this big giant bill thing here does kind of get in the way, but you can lift it up and down a little, kind of side to side, rotates everything. The arms here rotate. You do have to be careful, because a lot of times if you do move it, it will detach that a little bit too easily, especially if you're trying to rotate the arm arm here. This is really stiff, at least on mine. So, and then when you do, you can't just push it back in there. You have to make sure that the tab's lined up on that little rotation thing. You can see he hinges in and out. He also does rotate right up here. Like I said, very stiff joint. You have a little bit of an elbow joint right there. The whole thing kind of fluidly moves, which I do like. You got that hinge here and hinge here. As I talked about, this is a little bit softer of a rubber, so you can get some play in that. This arm right here also does rotate very nicely. You do again have to be careful because it can detach, and then you have to line those pieces up, and it can be a pain in the bootay. So make sure that's there and lock that back in. You can also hinge it in and out. This piece here doesn't move, so that's unfortunately as far out as it goes. Does rotate at the upper part of the bicep. If you leave the arms just as they're transformed, he does have kind of gorilla arms, but you can rotate that around, and then the wrists also do rotate. You do get a little bit of an ugly look right here. I don't mind it so much because you got all these kind of angular panels throughout the entire thing that I don't necessarily think that gap looks bad. I mean, I think that is a cool look for it. But I do like kind of just leaving it bent a little bit and then rotating the hand. So you do have that wrist rotation. Also does have finger articulation. The actual hands down, or the fingers down here, actually do hinge, which is nice. Unfortunately, nothing at the waist. Everything kind of locks in there very securely, and then you got the little section right here that comes around. The hips do move forward and back. They move in and out. These move forward. I don't really know why you need to move them forward because it's not attached to this. A lot of times you would have the little hip skirts that move, and it's attached to the actual hip, so you would need to move it up to make the leg, which is usually on a separate piece, rotate. The little hip thing's attached to the leg, so you don't need to do that. That's kind of strange. And then same thing with the outward motion here. You got these. Now, it does just kind of go along with the overall CGI design. He did have these little hip skirts right here, so it makes sense to have them. It's just, I don't know necessarily why they needed it to articulate, but it does. So there it is. Rotates at the upper part of the thigh, bends here at the knee, and then down here he has a bit of a pivot on the actual ankle, so you can spread his legs about that far with both feet actually on the surface, getting a good wide stance with it. But again, they are a little bit loose up here at the hip, so they do have a tendency to want to slide down. And then he also can move forward and back, so lots of articulation in them for some really good poses. Sometimes, like with me, I like displaying my Dinobots in their dinosaur mode, but I really think that I'm torn on this guy. I think both of these modes look incredible. I don't know which mode I'm gonna display this guy in. It might be one of the ones that gets transformed in my display a lot. Now, to transform it back, first we're going to come around here just to these arms and really easily just detach those just like so, kind of get them out of the way. Come around here to the back, you want to pull the side pieces away from the center section just like so on both sides, and then take these legs. I guess you didn't have to split these arms, but basically you're just gonna have to do all this stuff anyhow. Split the legs and then kind of spread them out to the side like so. Come around here, this entire back section, then you will hinge down. You can rotate his head back and in like so, and then pull out the dinosaur head. From here you can then hinge this all the way up. You had it like this, hinge this all the way forward, and then you can bring these pieces and collapse these along the center section. Now with this, you then want to rotate the middle piece all the way around, and then rotate this up. Get that off to the side, or the little dino hands off to the side. Then you want to rotate this up like that, and then make sure you rotate everything around. Again, it gets a little bit tricky. Rotate that all the way around, then you can hinge this all the way up and get, well, let's see, make this a little bit easier. Keep this detached, lift this up, bring this up, and then you want to There you go, get that pushed in there nice, and then take this section, rotate this down. You got a little tab underneath his neck section that's going to line up with that. So then again, you're trying to find little tab pieces that are underneath. Luckily, that lines up fairly decently, and then you can collapse this, put this along the side, and just kind of get that out of the way. And you can take this arm, just kind of position that right there. You're going to swivel that up and tuck that in here. Take these little leg pieces, swivel these all the way around, and then this, again, you have to make sure that you rotate this around and then actually hinge this forward. So you had it down like this for robot mode, swing it forward a little bit. Let me see, get that lined up, and then, well, actually, you're going to then hinge it down, like, see, there we go. And then you leave it or rotate it around like that. I'm sorry, you want to keep that section on the bottom. So again, just try to for some reason it doesn't seem to lock in. So you got like this little rotation bit right here. Remember, I mean, that rotates around. You have to rotate that around, and then you got this little piece right here, but as you can see, there's like little notches on the side that it doesn't fit along that actual slot right there. So I'm not 100% certain, and the instructions are really, really bad. So you can get it roughly lined up where it needs to be, and then for me, I just kind of hold it there. It doesn't really lock in, and then just bring these around, and you got these little holes on the inside of his little thigh piece, that tab in here. So just bring that around, and that'll hold this up there, but it just feels like it should go up more. And then do that on this side as well, and that holds that into place. But like I said, it feels like it's not right, if that makes sense. And you'll rotate that around. So I'm not 100% certain if I'm doing anything wrong. As I said, the instructions are very bad with it. So if you know, I'm sure somebody will tell me, but that's a little bit annoying. I did, as you can see, rotate the tail around and kind of pivot that, not proper configuration. Rotate these legs or the little feet around, bring that around like that. Fold down the heel. Do that on this side as well. Rotate this around. Fold down the little heel. And then here you can just bring these legs up. Bring them up here at the thigh a little bit, bend here at the knee, come around here. You got this little arm, you got a very small tab on the inside of his forearm here that swivels up and will tab in here. So rotate that and then straighten out that, and then just again kind of find where that sits, give that a little push, rotate the arms down like so, position his head, and when you're done, there you have Scorn. Well, fold out his little fins, but when you're done, there you have Scorn back in his dinosaur mode. But this guy really is fun. The transformation can be a little bit fiddly, but it's not nearly as bad as Nitro was. And the transformation itself results in both an outstanding looking dinosaur mode and really cool looking robot mode. So much that, as I said, I don't know which mode to display this guy in. I think both are absolutely fantastic. Another minor nitpick that I guess I would have is that he doesn't come with any accessories. Now, I don't know what he could come with. Now, maybe an axe or a mace or something like that. But I guess also when you're a big giant dinosaur, you don't necessarily need an accessory because you are a giant weapon. Either way, it's a fun toy. A lot of these figures from the new Last Night line I have really been impressed with. I feel Hasbro has been nailing it and knocking it out of the park, and Scorn here is definitely an example of that. So all that being said, if Scorn here is a figure that you'd like to add to your collection, he will be hitting various retail locations fairly soon. So if you're looking for him, good luck and happy hunting. Or as always, there's Big Bad Toy Store. So all you have to do for that is click on the link down in the video description. You'll go to BBTS where you can check out availability on this guy, as well as the rest of the wide range of Transformers The Last Night figures. But beyond that, guys, that's about it. So once again, I want to thank you for tuning in. This has been Optibotimus. Don't forget that if you like this video, to please hit that thumbs up button. It goes a long way towards helping me out, and I'd really appreciate it. Also, if you're new here, be sure to subscribe in case you haven't already subscribed. It's free, and you'll get instant email notifications whenever I upload a new video, and you'll never miss out on a future review of mine. Or hey, if you're already subscribed, do me a real quick favor and click on that bell right below this video, and double check your settings to make sure that they're set so that you get those email notifications. And as always, until next time, till all are one.